Probate law generally covers 4 categories: guardianships, conservatorships, trusts, and estates.
My brother and I grew up very tight. Our family was very tight. And never in a million years would I ever imagine something like this would happen.
We could have saved a lot of damage to the family and the relationship had we acted sooner.
My parents left some sizable property in both our names, and we always thought it's always going to be split half-half.
The elder usually has an estate plan in place for decades.
I think that there's maybe a misconception that having a plan means that you can now be hands-off and everything's all good, and that's not necessarily true.
Unfortunately, it is something that happens a lot. Like the Martinez's situation, it can happen before the elder has passed away. Isolation of the elder.
Segregating my father, all the properties were getting transferred illegally into his name. And my father trusted him, and I trusted him, and I never thought anything like this would ever happen.
They start dipping into the finances, the bank accounts. It starts with a little bit, and then they start gaining confidence because they're not being caught.
Refinancing every property, transferring properties to his name, and my dad was signing for it the whole time.
The change in the estate plan documents, the changing of the will, the changing of the trust.
When my brother invaded the irrevocable trust with a $1.5 million loan, and that's when we called the attorneys. We said, this is ridiculous.
Having somebody come in, an attorney who's experienced in this area, really partnering with you at the outset to let you know what you can do before litigation is necessary is something that can really control those costs. And if litigation is necessary, what steps can you do right now to help prepare yourself for it? Because that's also important. It's an emotional as well as a financial burden.
What we see a lot in our practice are these bad actors taking control of trusts and estates both before and after the death of the decedent.
It hurt. I think it hurt even more knowing that it was a family member that was doing this to you.
In the case of a loved one who has a will and trust in place, that alone is not sufficient to just protect them.
So having an experienced probate litigation attorney can be the difference between hundreds of thousands of dollars and time for the client than not having somebody on your side.
The sad point is that it happens a lot.
They've seen it all. They've seen so many situations, but if you hire the right attorney, it can be done with compassion and with creativity.
Probate litigation cases can be expensive, but there's a lot more we can do the earlier that we get retained. People who are losing their competency are being taken advantage of pretty regularly. So we're regularly now engaged before death to put a stop to something before it gets out of control. Keystone Law Group, we're a boutique probate litigation specialty firm. Founded in 2014, we were 3 people, and we opened it with the specific intent to be specialists in one specific area of the law. We steered clear of the estate planning side. We wanted to be a specialty within a specialty. So we are probate litigators, and that is 100% of what we do, and we've grown now to become close to 50 people in a matter of 7 or 8 years.
My wife's an attorney. She called a few friends. One of the calls we made was to Keystone. And right off the bat, I talked to Shawn, and I felt comfortable with him. And the first thing he said is, you gotta act fast. The happiness I feel now is that the case is settled. My kids are able to benefit from my parents' hard work. And that's what they always wanted. They wanted that legacy to continue.
Many of the partners at our firm have spent the entirety or a majority of their careers only in trusts and estates. So we really have the substantive knowledge of this area of the law, as well as sort of the procedural and evidentiary knowledge in terms of litigation.
To start with, what's the goal of the client? What are they seeking to accomplish? Something's happening within the family, and they're usually kept out of the loop. They don't have a lot of information when they're calling us, which is fine. That's actually very normal for clients to call and say, I have suspicions, but I don't know exactly what's going on. That's where we can come in. We can come in and investigate.
It's their specialty. It's what they do. I'm just proud. They're amazing. They did a really good job for us.
Growing to become one of the preeminent probate litigation firms and the largest probate litigation firm in the state, so it's been great.
And yeah, things are going to come up that people haven't ever experienced before, so the law's going to have to adapt. Certainly now. All areas of law are ever evolving. It's an ever shifting area, and one of the things that Keystone prides itself on is really being up to speed.
Could see just coming here and meeting with Lindsey and Shawn and seeing how their writing was amazing, their briefs were great. The promptness with their replies, they were very professional. So yeah, they were amazing. We knew we were with a good firm.
You know, what's been great about Keystone is we can help a lot of different people regardless of the stage they are in their dispute, whether it's pre-death, post-death. While it's always better to come to us sooner, give us a call, call your local probate attorney, because again, the sooner you can move forward on this, the better.
Your go-to law firm for everything probate. For more, visit keystone-law.com.